Hey, this is Keith from RisingStronger.com. This video is going to be about how to stop caring about what other people think of you. And before we even go into it, to clarify that a little bit more, not to stop caring 100%, but to stop being dominated or stop having life be controlled by what other people think or what we think they think. So there's a couple of things here that I'm going to go over, and then I have one book suggestion that I think can be really helpful to change perspective around this. And I think that the best place to start is to understand why we really care about what other people think. And there's a tribal aspect to it. The reason why we care, or why we have something built into us to care what other people think, whether it came with us way back when humans came about, or whether it's something we developed, but there's a tribal aspect where when we used to live in smaller communities, it mattered that the people around us thought good of us, thought well of us, because we depended on them for food. We depended on, we were much more interconnected than we are now. And there was always the chance that if we did something that made other people upset or other people didn't like, of being ostracized or kicked out of the community that we were living in. So we need to see that that serves a purpose, but it's not how we live anymore. And it's definitely not helpful in the way that we live in the modern world. Like caring so much about what other people think on the internet and social media, and if we want to do something that we're passionate about versus what other people think we should do, that doesn't serve this specific purpose. That doesn't serve us in those areas unless we understand it well enough and understand ourselves well enough. And there's also the aspect of it that it is important to care to some degree of what people think of us, because there can be useful feedback. It is a way to learn more about ourselves. It is a way to grow, which some of these things will cover a little bit. But the point is that there can be a purpose to it. It's just about balance. And that's what this is. It's not about getting over it 100%. You don't want to not care at all what other people think. That's not a healthy behavior. So it's more about getting to an 80-20. And right now, most people are the opposite. It's 20-80. But 80-20 would mean that 80% of who we are and what we do is governed by what we think and what we feel and our own opinions about ourselves. And 20% is dictated by what we gather from other people and the opinions and feedback that we get from other people. Again, right now it's more the opposite. Most people are 20%, they only do things based on what they want to do or what they think, and 80%, a majority of their lives and decisions, are dictated and dominated by other people and what they think other people think. So it's not about eliminating it, it's just about finding a balance that's more favorable to us and being able to live life fully. The next thing, and I would strongly recommend taking out like a notebook or something, and I realize many people won't do that. I usually don't do that with exercises like these, but I think it can be really helpful to see on paper this type of stuff. But to document all of the things in your life that you can think of that you haven't done or have done because of other people's opinions or what they wanted you to do. So maybe you wanted to do certain things because you were passionate, you wanted to study something in school or travel or do this or that, but you didn't do it because other people didn't think it was a good idea, or you were afraid of what they would think. And on the other hand, what have you done that you didn't feel good about? It wasn't aligned with your values. It wasn't something that you really wanted to do. But again, other people's opinions or other people wanting you to do it dictated your decision. And documenting all of that, becoming aware, like really getting a good picture of how much this has impacted your life or our lives, then ask yourself the question, how would your life be different if the decisions that you had made came 100% or 80% from what you really wanted to do? How much different could your life be? The next thing is to realize that, and I put walk into a room, is to understand that everybody is self-conscious in some way of what other people are thinking. And anytime we walk into the room, it's I think it's one of the most common places that caring about what other people think comes into effect. We walk in and our immediate thought is, what do people think of me? What's this person thinking of me? And it's just helpful to understand that everybody has that to some degree, whether they seem like it or not. And rather than get caught up in it, rather than being, again, dominated in our heads by the thought of what other people think about where other people can prove to you, like, what value they bring to your lives. We're often insecure when we walk into a room, just as one example of, like, do we belong here? Do people think we look weird? Are we, like, dressed appropriately? Are we knowledgeable? Many different factors, but flip it around and instead, in a humble way, just look at how everybody can prove to you that they belong in your life, that they are worthy of your time and energy. Again, in a humble way, but flip that around and know that everybody has the same thought of what are people thinking of me. Some more than others, some it affects more than others, but everybody does. The next place is to, and really I would say take action before this, but start small with taking action and doing things that are uncomfortable in terms of feeling like other people are going to judge you or feeling like you're not sure what other people think. And this requires awareness, and that's why things like journaling and meditation can be super helpful, because they help us in the moment to become aware of what we're thinking and feeling. But if we can start to become aware in the moment when we're doing things that, or we have the thought to do something and we have resistance toward doing it because we're not sure what other people will think of us, we're not sure if, whatever the case is, if we can catch ourselves in that and start small. Like, you don't want to do some crazy drastic thing because we're never gonna wind up doing it. We'll chicken out. But starting small with doing little things that are maybe uncomfortable, or maybe we feel like we might be judged for, but doing them anyway, to see that A, life goes on, and B, people really don't wind up caring. Most people, it's the same thing as walk into a room, they're so concerned with themselves that they're not really paying much attention to you. And if they do wind up judging you or they think some way, it's just because you're either reflecting a weakness to them, or you're reflecting something that they don't like about themselves or about the world, and it's deeper. It goes a lot deeper than what we need to be concerned about. So again, start small. Find something that is not anxiety-riddenly overwhelming, and just do that, and allow yourself to be aware of doing it. Reflect on it. I did it. I'm here. It's okay. And continue to build up, continue to do things that bring about that feeling. Do them anyway, in spite of being insecure or uncertain of what other people will think. The next one is to identify the people who you care most what they think. Maybe, like, I think for a lot of people it's their parents or family members, or maybe friends or whatever. But identify, just to become aware, because you'll notice that certain behaviors and the way that you act around these people, or when these people are involved in whatever we're doing, we'll notice that we start to modify or become hyper aware of what we're doing as to not do something that triggers this. So if we can identify, like, I care what this person thinks and this person thinks, again, if you can list it out, I think it's more powerful and it gives you something to reference. But identify what people you care. And then this is a concept from David Dita's book, The Way of the Superior Man, but live as if they were dead. That's a concept he talks about, is live as if your father was dead. So in other words, like, for a lot of people, they have people in their lives that put a lot of pressure on them to do something or to be a certain way, and you have to live as if that person was dead, just in the sense that you stop caring about what they think. You stop even having a perception that they might judge you or have some other idea of what you should be doing. And then possibly the most important one on the list, in my opinion, is to be open to criticism. We'll stop caring what other people think, or we'll stop to a large extent when we're actually open to criticism. When we have a mindset of wanting to grow and wanting to improve and wanting to be better, we're not so scared of what other people think, because we understand that we're not perfect. If people do have feedback or do have judgments against us, we can look at it as, what can I learn from what they're saying or what they think? We can even go and ask people. That could, I'm sure, very well help to stop caring about what other people think. Just go directly and ask. But the more that we can be open to criticism, again, we're going to grow more, but we also just recognize that we are going to be criticized, and we deserve it in a lot of areas. But there are some people that shut down and they just stay where they are for the fear of being criticized or having any sort of flaw or shortcoming at all. And then there are other people who walk into those things and just build themselves up with turning them around, making the weaknesses strengths. So if you want to be self-aware, if you want to be able to grow, it can be really helpful to get to the mindset of not caring what other people think, and then being completely open to what they may have to say. And maybe it's not always true or 100% correct, but it's probably useful in some sense. And I think it's also, this isn't one on here, but it's also important just to look at our own thoughts and recognize our own thoughts and behaviors, how much we criticize and judge other people. And like, we don't take it that seriously. We walk around all the time and point out other people's things, like, we don't like what they're wearing, he sounds weird, she looks weird. And it's not a big deal. Like, we're just like, I don't know, that's just the way the mind works. If we can understand that that's how other people are too, and just that it's not serious, it doesn't really matter, it's just like how human beings conceive of one another, it just doesn't matter. It's silly to get caught up and concerned about it. And that leads directly into the last one, which is understanding that most people are concerned about what other people think, and they don't even know what they think. I heard it on a podcast, I forget who said it, but like, most people are concerned about a thought of what they think other people are thinking. So they're like making up for the other person what that person is perceiving of them, and then taking it personally, internalizing it, and living their lives from that place. And it's crazy when you think about it. It's crazy that that's how we live. So again, getting through all this stuff, I wrote Living Life. And what I meant by this is now coming back to the documenting how these things have controlled our lives. If you thought about or wrote in some way about how life would be different if you didn't care so much about what other people thought, now how much would it be different in the future? How much could your life change and improve if you were able to let go of how much you cared about what other people thought? If you were able to get to an 80-20, if you were able to start making decisions from what you wanted to do and letting go of the care so much of what other people thought. It's life-changing, and it's practice, it's progress. Like, I'm making this video just because this is all stuff that I've worked on myself, but I'm not 80-20, like 100% or all the time. There's plenty of times where I catch myself caring, but it's like that awareness, and then just all this stuff becomes second nature, and you just stop caring. It doesn't matter, and it's not worth it. And I did say that I had a book. Let me grab the book. I'll be right back. So the book that I would recommend, this book has a lot of really good insights and valuable takeaways. Like, a lot of, I have markings on almost every page. But it's the Living on Your Own Terms by Osho and What is Real Rebellion. It's just about how to start living for yourself, how to start taking ownership of yourself, taking responsibility for yourself. So I think that can be really useful. It was useful to me when I read it a few years ago. I've read it a couple of times. But yeah, I hope that helps you. If you have any questions about anything that I said, or have any thoughts, or would add anything to this list, let me know. And I'm going to be making more videos like this. If you like it, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.